Kenya National Commission of Human Rights, that is KNCHR, which estimated that 25% and 40% of outpatients and inpatients suffer from mental health conditions. I see Petronilla nodding. The most frequent diagnoses of mental illnesses made in general hospital settings are depression, substance abuse, stress, and anxiety disorders. This is very key. Yeah. Because according to a WHO report of 2017, it ranked Kenya 5th, number 5 among African countries with elevated depression cases. All these is from the National Library of Medicine 2022 report. They quote WHO together with KNCHR. And I want us to talk about this. Fine, it was 2017, yes, but number 5 in Africa. Who goes first? Victor?
I'll say that it's true. These are not just facts that are just, they woke up and, sourced or paid. I'll take an example. 2019, as a panel here, when COVID hit the world to part of 2020, most people lost their jobs. Most people did not have hope. They lost hope. And at the end of the day, especially in the urban settlements, in the ghetto places, I'll go with the stress because they don't know where they'll get the bread for tomorrow. They don't know how they'll pay the school fees. Grace, sadly, yesterday I was somewhere and this lady lost the husband through a road accident. Everything was taken from her. She has 4 kids. And when she came back after the burial, her 2 sons, the first 2 sons were supposed to go back to school. And unfortunately, she did not have insurance. They pay the school fees from the pocket. And most people, 80% of people who live in urban settlements do that. And the house was closed. So I met her outside crying in a shop nearby. And I asked her, what's wrong? And she told me, Niko sawa, I'm okay.
That's what we all say.
Yep, and I would read in between as a counselor also. And I told her, you know what, tell me, the best way of healing about it is by first talking about it. So I had 10,000 in my pocket. I gave her the money, and that is exactly money that she needed to pay at least for her 2 sons not to be taken out of schools. And I'll tell you, stress is killing a lot of people, not only in the high ranks or the low ranks, but in the urban settlements, a lot of people they do not know how tomorrow will be. They do not know how life will be. Jokingly also, I'll talk about men also. They don't know how they maintain these slave queens or these ladies, And at the end of the day, marriages are breaking, relationships are breaking. So money has become a god in many people's lives. And this is slowly killing people's lives. Mentally, they're being deteriorated. And the best way they think that they can do away with this is by taking their own lives into their own hands and committing suicide.
Right.
Sadly, it is high time we not only give them hope, but we show them the best way.
That's true. Petronilla.
If I may come in, sorry to interrupt, Grace. If I may just jump in, I'm a researcher, so I like data. And as we talk about this data, I think what is important is to note that these are people's lives. It's not just a percentage.
They're not just numbers.
They're not just percentages. These are our brothers. These are our sisters. These are our mothers. And these are us, ourselves.
And children.
And children. The most vulnerable. So it is right home. And just to add to that is that around 40 to 42% of people who actually visit general medical facilities in the country actually have been diagnosed with, or they suffer from severe, they have shown symptoms of severe depression. And just to add that more recently, the Ministry of Mental Health actually released the guidelines on guidelines on the workplace. And what it showed is that actually nearly 4 million people in the workforce out of the around 24.9 million are actually suffering or have mental health, various mental health conditions, which then brings in the conversation about how well are we actually adapting in our workspaces in order to be able to deal with mental health issues. But also to add that depression and others have actually been major risk factors in terms of attempted suicide. Yeah, and please allow me at this rate, because we've been talking about committing suicide, please allow me to jump in and just say we try to encourage, to discourage use of committing, because what committing connotes is that it's a crime. But what we are trying to say is that, and advocate for, is that actually attempted suicide is not a crime. And in fact, that's why we are talking about decriminalizing.
And we shall get there.
Yes, we shall get there. So I just thought we should
Thank you for
it right here as we move on.
It's attempting suicide, not
it's attempting suicide, not committing.
All right. Dorothy, I want to rope you in. We have the statistics here. But remember earlier, Victor said that men are more likely to commit suicide than women. And I asked you for a follow-up on that because I wanted to hear your opinion. Because my research told me that women are 3 times more likely than men to experience mental health problems. Fine, this is not attempting suicide, but they're 3 times more likely than men to experience mental health problems. Is that true?
I could concur.